here. And it's 1985, and it's a film called Cocoon. And it's a film often shown during Christmas or Easter periods. And basically the story is about aliens who came to Earth about 10,000 years ago to Atlantis. And when Atlantis sank, about 20 of the aliens were kept alive in cocoons at the bottom of the ocean. Now the aliens from the planet Antares, by the way, have come to take them back. The aliens take on human disguise, which is quite handy, and they walk among us. And they rescue the cocoons from the ocean floor by chartering a boat. And the captain of the small craft, Jack, played by Steve Guttenberg, who you may remember from Police Academy, and Police Academy 2, and Police Academy 3, and Police Academy 4. And you know what? They're actually in talks at the moment, as we speak, about Police Academy 8. Yeah. Stephen Guttenberg, he also appeared in the Michael Jackson video for the song Liberian Girl. Yeah, him. Jack, played by Steve Guttenberg, helps the aliens fish the cocoons out of the water. The aliens, like I say, have human form, so Jack doesn't know they're aliens yet. And Kitty, one of the aliens who quite conveniently happens to look like a very attractive young woman. I don't know why they all didn't choose that form, but played by Tani Welch. And Tani Welch is the daughter of 60s film star Raquel Welch. She undresses in the cabin, and Jack happens to see this and realises that she's an alien. And then they all admit to being aliens and explain what their situation is. So Jack helps them. He's quite nice. The cocoons are in the swimming pool, but the aliens impart some form of life energy into the water to revive the aliens in the cocoons. Next door to the aliens' house is a retirement home for the elderly, and 3 of the residents have gotten into the habit of sneaking into the house to use the pool without anyone knowing. And after a while, they notice that they don't feel so old and tired and achy anymore. It's as if swimming in that pool is reversing the effects of their ageing. 2 of the elderly residents of the home are a real-life couple, Hume Cronin and Jessica Tandy. When they were alive, they were married for a very long time, something like 50 years. Jessica Tandy starred in Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds, which is what I did yesterday, 1963. And she was born in Hackney in London. She had a major feature in that film. And in 1942, she was born in Hackney in London. In 1942, she married Hume Cronin, who was born in London, Ontario, in Canada. And Alfred Hitchcock kept on asking Hume Cronin, during the creation of The Birds, kept on asking Hume Cronin his opinion of the screenplay of The Birds as it was being written, which annoyed Evan Hunter because he was writing it at the time and he didn't really like that kind of interference. But Alfred Hitchcock's consultation with Hume really did make it a better film. Initially, the director on board for this film, Cocoon, for the first year of development was Robert Zemeckis. However, at that time, he was also directing Romancing the Stone. Now, prior to Romancing the Stone's release, Fox previewed Romancing the Stone, and they absolutely hated it, and they believed it would be a failure. So as a result, they fired Zemeckis from the Cocoon project. So instead, they brought on Ron Howard. Now, Ron Howard played Richie Cunningham in Happy Days alongside the Fonz, who was played by Henry Winkler. And he was brought on to, not Henry Winkler, Richie Cunningham was brought on to direct, played by Ron Howard. Ron Howard directed the film in the end. The film was originally going to be a Christmas release, but test screenings with the audiences showed that it would be a big hit, so they moved the release to June. Now, could this film have been as big and as influential as Close Encounters of the Third Kind? It has a few similarities. There's probably more similarities than people think. But ultimately, it has a far smaller scope and concerns itself with a tiny geographical area and a very small slice of time and a fairly narrow objective or goal within the plot. Now, Close Encounters is just far bigger in every direction, and it skims across several seemingly diverse story threads, only twisting them together at the end, very skillfully. Now, perhaps Cocoon could have been bigger and knitted together a few distinct story threads instead of being quite so monotonic. It too could have turned out to be an equally powerful film in the end, but it's a nice little holiday film for people to watch. But I think there's a lot more in it than at first sight. Cocoon, 1985. Thank you very much. Goodbye.